I want to take some time today to explain the quick release lever. It's very important that you understand how this lever works, because if it doesn't work properly or you don't have it adjusted properly, you may lose the front wheel on your bicycle, and that could be devastating. Not much to this. We've got an adjusting nut down here, we've got a couple of springs here, an axle, and the quick release lever down here. By the way, these springs are conical springs. You can see they're narrower here than they are at the ends. If they ever come off, just make sure that the narrow end is pointed towards the bicycle. They just kind of keep things apart, so when you put your fork in place, stuff isn't getting in the way. Now, the beauty, the wonderful, simple beauty of this little device is buried in here. You can't see it, but there's a cam. And what this cam does is it takes this motion, which you're familiar with when you tighten the lever. This is a rotational motion like that, and it translates it into making this piece, which is up against your fork blade, move this way. So that you do this to tighten, this moves this way, everything stays tight. Now it's not a whole lot of motion. Just to give you an idea, let's take a ruler, get the spring out of the way. We're going to put the ruler here, got it parallel with this face, and as I do this, see this face moving in and out? It's not very much. Boy, maybe about 1 millimeter or so. But that little bit of movement as you rotate, and it moves this way, is enough, if this is properly adjusted, to make sure your front wheel doesn't fall out, or your rear wheel. That's the next thing we'll do, is show you how do you know when it's too tight or when it's too loose. All right, here we are. Now I've got the wheel and the fork. Now all the adjustments in terms of how tight or loose things are going to be made over here. A lot of times you see people doing things like twirling this around. Don't do this. Make your adjustments over here. You want to tighten this to the point that as you start to rotate this lever, once it is at 90 degrees to the fork blade, you start to feel some resistance. That's when you know you've got things adjusted just right. So when you reach that point, you've got resistance here. I usually do this with my fingers on the fork blade, and I put the palm of my hand on the quick release, so I can use that leverage to tighten it up. Now the quick release is tightened properly. The wheel shouldn't fall out. I'll tell you though, this isn't going to come off easily. You're not just going to be able to flip this easily and get it undone. It's not just friction that's keeping stuff in place. It's the fact that you've kind of gone, let's say, past top dead center on the little cam. Remember the cam we talked about in here? And now what you've got to do is get yourself back over that hump in order to undo this quick release. So it takes a fair amount. Once I get over top dead center, then it comes undone really easily. There's another check on your work. If you're saying, well, how much is too tight? Did I get this too loose? If this goes on really, really easily, and you don't have to work to get it undone, yeah, you've got it too loose. Because tightness is relative to all of us, isn't it? Depending on what our hand strength is and what our perception is. Play with this a little bit and you'll get the feel of it. Very, very important. Very elegant, very simple, very critical.